Society finds it difficult to understand. An older man loses a relationship. Years pass, then decades, and he never dates again. People assume he must be lonely, broken, heartbroken, or secretly unhappy. But what if they're wrong? What if some older men stop dating not because they've given up on life, but because they've discovered a different way of living, a way that brings them more peace than they ever expected? Today we will explore why some older men never date again, and why many of them have absolutely no regrets. In the field of developmental psychology, the transition into a man's senior years involves a massive recalibration of his emotional baseline. What the modern world perceives as isolation is often a profound, deliberate state of psychological self-preservation. It is the grand audit of a man's life. We are going to dissect the 5 undeniable reasons why older men actively choose permanent solitude over modern romance. We will reveal why stepping out of the dating arena is not a symptom of surrender, but the ultimate expression of masculine wisdom. Let us uncover the truth. Point 1. They finally find absolute peace. Many older men spent decades navigating the relentless stress of long-term relationships. Let us look at the biological reality of what a stressful relationship actually entails. In clinical psychology, allostatic load refers to the physiological wear and tear on the body caused by chronic stress. For years, these men lived in a state of hypervigilance. They walked on eggshells to avoid triggering a partner's anger. They constantly negotiated their own happiness just to keep the peace in their own homes. Then, one day, through divorce or circumstance, they find themselves completely alone. At first, the silence feels strange. Society conditions us to view silence as an enemy, an empty void waiting to swallow us. But slowly, something miraculous and unexpected happens. They begin truly enjoying it. The quiet mornings, the absolute freedom, the total absence of constant pressure. For the first time in perhaps 30 or 40 years, life feels profoundly peaceful. He realizes that his home is no longer a battlefield. It is a sanctuary. When a man achieves this level of emotional equilibrium, his tolerance for drama drops to absolute zero. He realizes that to invite a new woman into his life is to risk importing her unresolved trauma, her chaotic energy, and her expectations. He becomes incredibly reluctant to give that hard-won peace away. He simply refuses to trade his sanctuary for a storm. Point 2. They build a life they don't want to escape from. We must address a fundamental psychological truth about modern dating. Many people use romantic relationships solely to escape their own loneliness. They use other human beings as emotional band-aids to cover up the fact that they despise their own company. But some older men take a different path. Instead of searching for someone to complete them, they create a life that already feels entirely complete. They undergo the process of self-actualization. They develop rich, rewarding hobbies. They travel to places they always wanted to see. They read history and philosophy. They exercise to protect their vitality. They spend meaningful time with family and close friends. They curate a daily routine that is simple, yet profoundly fulfilling. Consider the practical reality of this lifestyle. When a man is completely absorbed in his passions, he does not feel a void. He does not sit by the phone waiting for validation. When a man genuinely enjoys his daily life, he stops searching for someone to rescue him from it. He realizes that a partner was never the missing piece to his puzzle. He was the entire picture all along. To bring a new relationship into this perfectly balanced ecosystem feels less like an upgrade and more like an unnecessary disruption. He doesn't need to date because his life is already a masterpiece. Point 3. They completely stop chasing what society expects. For the vast majority of their lives, men follow an invisible, deeply ingrained societal script. Go to school, build a career, get married, raise a family, retire. And while there is absolutely nothing inherently wrong with that traditional path, some older men eventually experience a profound psychological awakening. They realize they have spent 4 decades living according to expectations they never actively questioned. After 60, something fundamental changes in the masculine brain. The psychological drive to conform, to appease the tribe, and to validate one's existence through societal milestones completely evaporates. They step off the conveyor belt and begin asking themselves a terrifying, yet incredibly powerful question. What do I actually want? For some men, the authentic answer to that question still includes a romantic relationship. But for others, it does not. They realize that they only pursued relationships in the past because they were terrified of being labeled defective or lonely by their peers. But at this stage of life, the opinions of society lose all of their venom. The audience they feared for decades has vanished. And for the very first time in their entire lives, they feel completely free to make the choice of solitude without a single ounce of guilt. They stop acting the role of the family man and finally begin acting as themselves. Point 4. They become ruthlessly selective about who enters their life. When you are young, your boundaries are highly permeable. You operate under the dangerous illusion of infinite time and infinite emotional resilience. You give people unlimited chances. You tolerate glaring red flags. You ignore warning signs. You believe, naively, that everyone deserves another opportunity and that your love can fix a broken partner. Age brutally changes that perspective. The senior man is a veteran of human nature. He has advanced pattern recognition. Older men learn that every single relationship carries a heavy, unavoidable cost. It is not just a financial cost. It is not just an emotional cost. It is a severe mental cost. Before allowing anyone past the iron gates of his life, the senior man begins asking difficult, uncompromising questions. Does this person bring peace? Do they bring mutual respect? Do they bring absolute honesty? Or do they bring chaos? And if the answer is chaos, many older men simply choose distance. They do not argue. They do not try to rehabilitate a toxic partner. They execute an immediate, unapologetic exit strategy. They do this not because they are cold, and not because they are incapable of love. They do it because they have finally learned the astronomical value of protecting their peace. They refuse to hand a knife to a stranger and simply hope they decide not to cut them. The gates remain locked because the king inside is finally safe. Point 5. They discover that freedom is the ultimate form of wealth. Many people navigate their entire lives believing that wealth is measured strictly in dollars. They equate a successful life with accumulation, more money, a larger estate, a more prestigious title. But older men often discover a completely different, infinitely superior kind of wealth. It is the ability to spend your day exactly how you choose. It is the ability to wake up in the morning without the crushing weight of pressure. It is the ability to make financial and lifestyle decisions without a single moment of negotiation or compromise. It is the ability to enjoy simple, beautiful moments without owing anyone an explanation. In a romantic relationship, every major decision requires a committee of two. But the solitary senior man is the undisputed sovereign of his own reality. He realizes that having millions of dollars is completely meaningless if you are an anxious prisoner in your own home. For some senior men, this radical, unadulterated freedom becomes vastly more valuable than romance itself. And once they experience the intoxicating high of absolute autonomy, they become incredibly fiercely careful about giving it away. They realize that their freedom is a masterpiece, and they refuse to let anyone else hold the paintbrush. To the society that judges him, the solitary older man will always remain an enigma. They will continue to label him as lonely simply because they are too terrified to face their own silence. But the truth is written in his quiet smile. He has not given up on life. He has finally, truly begun to live it. He has stopped running on the treadmill of societal expectations, and he has found his sanctuary. If this video resonated with your soul, I want to hear your truth. Head down to the comments and tell me. At what age did you finally realize that protecting your freedom and your peace was more valuable than chasing a relationship? Your scars and your wisdom will help guide the younger men who are still fighting blindly through the storm. If you found value in this deep dive into male psychology, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Sage Academy channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. Thank you for watching. Until next time, guard your sanctuary and embrace your freedom.